Which of Jeremy Clarkson's Hawkstone beers is better than the rest? We are about to find out. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I have 4 beers from Hawkstone to pitch head to head. If you watched the last video, I did spend an entire day down in the Cotswolds in Oxfordshire, just living everything Clarkson and Clarkson's farm. We went to the farmer's dog, the farmer's puppy, the whole thing around the pub. We went to Diddley Squat Farm, and then we went to Hawkstone Brewery as well, where I picked up all of the beers they would sell me, and that was 4 in terms of different varieties. Obviously I had more than one of each, but yeah, just 4 varieties on sale, which was a little bit disappointing, but at least it means we've only got 4 to choose from in declaring which of Clarkson's beers are the best. Now, full disclosure, I have tried all of these at some point in the past, mostly about a week ago when I first got back that evening. I fancied continuing that experience and broke into them. They weren't properly cooled, it wasn't the best conditioning and all the rest of it, so it really is a bit of a fresh look. I've had the original Hawkstone, this one, a few times. I had it when it first came out, I reviewed it, and then I've had it on tap and stuff down in that part of the world when I've been down there a few times. It's very good actually. I really like it as a just clean straight up lager. It's not overly impressive in any way, but it certainly does the job and is far from bad. The rest of them I'm not really sure about. I'm not really sure why so many of them are so similar. We've got a 3.8% Pilsner, a 4% Session Lager, a 4.8% regular lager, and then a 4.8% IPA, which I think most of you will agree makes it automatically not an IPA. It might be IPA-like, adjacent, flavoured, but it's not a real IPA, not a sub 5%. So, yes, this is what we've got to deal with, but, well, I guess we'll find out. Quick look at the bottle before we get in. I do like the slightly more easy to read version of this Hawkstone 3.8% Pils. The consistency in the bottles looks very nice. I'm just worried about the consistency in the beer being too similar. The Session Lager, the hardest to pick up on camera there, silver text on a grey label, not great, but it does, again, look very nice. The original, I do like that one, I have to say, very good. And then of course the IPA on kind of a beige background with reflective text. Yeah, you get the idea, all very similar. I like the consistency, but maybe it could be a bit more interesting. As usual, we're going to do this in kind of flavour and ABV strength order, starting down here with 3.8% Pils, working our way up. I don't have 4 identical beer glasses, so it was down to my kitchen for these regular old water glasses. This one, I can even tell, isn't that clean, so apologies for what it's going to look like on camera, but this is really just to see how they look compared to each other. And we will get on from there. By not that clean, I don't mean it's filthy, I just mean it's not gone through the same rigorous cleaning as my normal beer glasses do, so bear with me. Right, let's get straight in. We'll use the dirty one first, get the embarrassment over with, into the 3.8% Pilsner. I do like a Pilsner. I don't know whether this is meant to be a Czech Pilsner, a German Pilsner, a Italian Pilsner, or something completely different altogether. It is, I think you'll agree, quite Pilsner-esque. It is, ignoring the terrible glass, very pale. Has got a nice floral hop, but there is something, and I don't know if other people get this. You know when you buy fresh from a brewery, it shouldn't make any difference because the beer is contained in bottled, it's sealed, but somehow I do always get this slightly raw malt vibe, or there's a distinct brewery smell that is a combination of the yeast and the kind of the atomization of the grains. Once they've had the hot water on them, you can kind of just smell it everywhere. It sticks to everything. I'm picking that up a bit in this beer. It's a bit cereally. It's a bit, well, it smells a bit more like work than a finished beer with. Let's give it a go. Cheers. It's nice, it's crisp, it's really nice. Very toasted cracker. Oh, it's good. It is a good... Is it a good Pilsner? Yeah, it is. Just sharp enough. And yeah, it's an alarmingly good start, actually. I've not had one of those at the kind of appropriate temperature yet. And, well, yes, very nice indeed. Into, then, the Session Lager, which, when you've done a 3.8% Pilsner, seems pretty pointless. I mean, we stick these two next to each other. They're not far apart, eh? If I lean over both of them, even the colour's off, that's not wholly different. There you go, look. Is it hazier? Honestly, alright, the Pilsner's a smidge lighter, but it's a smidge. Aroma-wise, drops off a bit there. Not a lot of aroma at all. What is there? Comes across a bit lightly fruity, maybe a bit like of a crisp apple vibe. Did they put the cider in here by accident? Like, no, there is a little bit of malt coming through, but really not a lot. Let's get into it. Cheers. Okay, it is more malty. It's got more, almost a candied back into it. It is very sweet, this. It's not very hoppy. It's not very often I find myself calling for a bit more hop in a beer. But I'm not sure that's especially well balanced, especially for a session brew. It's not meant to be big and heavy. And, well, if you're trying to make a big multi-session ale, which I'm all for, well, you'd make an ale, basically, is what I'm trying to say. The lager doesn't really lend itself to it. It's nice, nothing offensive, but yeah, just a little bit underwhelming. Between those two, obvious winner in the 3.8% Pilsner. Always turn that bottle the wrong way around. There you go. Okay, into the slightly more heavyweights then. The regular lager. This I've had a few times, and this should, I think, be definitely head and shoulders above the session version, but things do get weird in taste tests, so let's find out. Ooh. I was expecting this to be instantly heaps darker, a bit more golden maybe, but honestly, not massively. It feels very much like the same malt profile throughout all of these. There's not a lot of difference. This is more hopped, feels more balanced, nice, grassy, fresh. Little twang of the Did They Squat Urinals perhaps, but I'm kidding. But you get what I mean. It's got that slightly rugged earthiness to the hop. It's almost farmyard-esque, very appropriate. Give it a go. Cheers. Instantly, much more full, dynamic, balanced. Feels a lot more German in its approach. It's one of those beers that really you don't have to think about, but every sip you go, oh, that's quite good, that, isn't it? Interesting. Why? Yes, the flavours aren't big, but they don't need to be. It works. It's a perfectly good straight up lager, that, which is what I thought about it before we get into this, so good to know consistencies. And last up, the Hawkstone IPA. We'll actually rank these afterwards, but a quick taste test through all of them so we can get them all open and take a look properly. Now, we know I'm going to say it's not an IPA, but is it a good beer otherwise? Do we finally have something a bit more golden? And yet it does look a touch richer. It has to be said. It is darker, it's more golden, it's more everything, really. A bit close up on the camera with that one, but not a surprise. An IPA should be bigger, richer, heavier. I don't think any more fragrant. A little bit more kind of, not quite citrus fruit, kind of lychee notes from the hops. in this that are making it feel a bit stronger than the aroma on that Pilsner, but that Pilsner aroma is by far the strongest otherwise. It smells a little bit musty, a little bit dank, but overall pretty inoffensive. Cheers. It is more spiky, it's definitely more hopped, it's definitely more bitter, and it's got a really nice biscuity bite to the finish. It is a pretty well-rounded beer, but the overwhelming sensation with this isn't, wow, what a nice IPA. It's simply, what an interestingly hopped lager you have. Now, full disclosure, before I started this, I did have a nagging doubt in my mind, after having had them all not back to back, that was I really looking at the same beer in 4 very, very similar guises? Because it would be very easy to see that you go, well, you make one a little bit weaker, and then you step it up, and then you step it up. Like, you could bounce from these. Not a great deal of difference between these two, mind, 0.2%, but you know, and then finally you just add some hops to it. I don't know if it's true down this end of the table, but up here, that definitely feels like what's happened. Now, I know I've already kind of discounted the session lager versus the Pils and said it's way worse, but before we completely get rid of it, I do want to see how it stacks up against the original lager, because in theory, the session version is they're meant to be similar, right? So session, it does just feel a bit flattened. What's the word? It's kind of that crystalline sugar that you often get in some Belgian beers. In the Belgian beers, it's obviously balanced off with huge ABVs and loads of complex flavours. In this, it just tastes like a load of sugar. On the flip side, that feels, ooh, okay, I think they are the same, and I think I know what's happened. Maybe. The session lager feels really, really sweet. But if you look at them, they look identical. And if you wanted to create a lower alcohol version of a beer you'd already got, but otherwise wanted to keep them the same, and cut out a load of complicated processes and brew them the same, you could do it just by cranking the temperature up on your yeast once it reached the ABV you wanted. Which does lead me to believe that it's very possible the session version is exactly the same, but the regular has basically been fully fermented. All of the sugar has been eaten by the yeast, and that's the ABV it lands at based on the amount of yeast put in and everything else. Whereas I'm starting to think they've just either, you know, used less yeast that couldn't take on any more than that, or seems unlikely, so they've cranked the temperature up or whatever to kill the yeast, or kill the yeast some other way, and as a result ended up with a load of residual sugars left in it, which makes it feel quite raw, quite unfinished, really, is my feeling. I don't know if it's true, but yeah, I'm sorry, that session, take it down here, because that's ultimately where it's sitting. It is at the end, because I don't really like that, if I'm totally honest with you. So, how do we choose between the rest? Well, let's focus on the lagers for a minute. The Pils, it's light, it's crisp, it's got something into my head now. Remember what I said about that originally? Like, it felt like it was fresh in the brewery. It had that kind of cooked or cooking grain quality to it. I'm now slightly worried that the same process has taken place there. It doesn't feel quite as sweet. But there's definitely an argument to say that that feels like a not properly fermented, unfinished beer as well. What does it say on this? What's it meant to be? It says, with flavours of grapefruit, pine and bittersweet finish, our Pils is light-bodied lager with real character. I mean, it is, but It's a little funky, if I'm honest. Just a little, you know what I mean? I don't dislike it as a one-off, but now I sit and think about it and compare it to other things of a similar nature from the same place. Yeah, I'm not sure. I definitely like it better than the session lager. Too many very similar sounding things here. Right, the original lager still stands up. Very nice indeed. I think. Let's do this so you can see what's what. Yeah, that original Hawkstone Lager just hits the spot. It's no nonsense. It is nice. And the IPA, if you advertised it as a golden ale, here's the problem. It's too carbonated for almost any... It's a hop lager. I'm making excuses for it. Flavour profile, it would be better described as a golden ale, but the conditioning's wrong. It's a bit splashy, it's a bit watery, it's a bit lagery, is ultimately the truth. And, well, it's not doing anyone any favours either. This has turned very negative because I quite enjoyed drinking these the other day, but for some reason, you pitch them head to head, you soon realise that there is no beating the original Hawkstone. I'm sorry, it's a bit of a boring answer, but that is the truth. That original Hawkstone is number one, but number two goes to the Pilsner because it is slightly more true to form to its style than the least IPA I've ever seen. It's not true, I've seen worse. Followed by that session lager. I don't think the session lager is very good, at least the bottle that I've got. If I'm really honest, I just don't. Yeah, there's something wrong with it. This is so far ahead. The original Hawkstone Lager is so far in front of the rest. It really isn't a competition, if I'm totally honest. Don't get drawn into the hype. If you want to go and support Clarkson, you want to go and support Hawkstone, just go and buy a case of the original. You won't regret it. Just before we wrap this up, have you tried any or all of these four? What do you think about them? Let me know in the comments, because I would be fascinated to see if anyone's had a different experience, especially with that session lager. I even feel like I might have had that session lager on tap somewhere and gone, this is pretty decent. But here, right now, today, it's not doing it for me. And that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.